Hello, everyone. Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me? I need to know if you can hear me. Drop some ones for me if you can hear me and see me. Uh, let's see. I'm getting some. Okay, everything sound good. Everything sound good. Excellent. Oh, I'm so excited to be here tonight. Listen, I want y'all to make sure that you click like and share this experience tonight on this 17th day of November. Y'all, this is a special day. I'm gonna share with y'all real quick while y'all coming in. Today is so special because my life was changed 4 years ago today. On the 17th of November, my granddaughter was born, Addison Lachey. I have been forever changed. As a matter of fact, we all have been forever changed because of her entrance into the world. But I thought it not robbery to come on tonight and share in this moment with my friend in honor of my granddaughter because I've never thought about legacy the way I think about legacy now until she was born. And so tonight, as I said, I want you guys to make sure that you click like and click share because there's going to be something phenomenal going on tonight. I have the privilege and the honor of interviewing my dear friend. Y'all know him as Mr. CEO, Justin Tyson. But he's more than just a CEO. He is a phenomenal young man. And he comes from great stock. And so we're going to talk about that tonight. So, Justin, where are you? Come on in, Justin. Oh my goodness. Why can't I hear you though? Can you hear
River,
me?
I can.
All right, come on in, sir. I need to hear you. I need to hear you. Listen, I'm so excited. What my hand claps at? I ain't got me some hand claps together, y'all. Listen, y'all know I'm working this technology tonight. Y'all see these gray hairs? Y'all, you listen, believing and know that it takes some effort to do this. But I want you, hold on, Justin. I had you some hand clap. Let me see where they at. Oh my God. Listen. Trying to get on. I forgot about them, y'all. My sound effects. Here they are. Can you hear? Now we gonna do this thing right. Come on, come on. So listen, Justin, how are you?
For some reason, I am extremely nervous, but I'm here. I'm excited and
Are
nervous.
you nervous? That's always a good thing. Anytime you had technology problems, anytime you got them little butterflies in your stomach, that mean that something wonderful about to happen. So
Hold
listen, don't
on.
worry. Anything, listen, I'm gonna be listening to you. Anything that you don't want to talk about, we ain't gotta talk about it.
Okay.
But that which you want to talk about, we gonna talk
What we
about.
doing there?
So
Let's
listen,
talk.
I don't want to take for granted that everyone knows you. They know you as Justin, the CEO. But tell us about Justin. Justin, where did you grow up? Tell us a little bit about your background, sir.
Well, I'm from this really, really big city. You all have probably heard of it. No, I'm from
Mhm.
Greenville, Alabama. It's about 30 minutes south of um I say 30 minutes because I speed, but 30, 45 minutes south of Montgomery. Back when I used to work with the chamber, we would say it was brilliantly located between Alabama metropolitan cities, Birmingham and Mobile. Brilliantly located on Interstate 65. So we were right there on 65. Beautiful, beautiful small city. And that's where I grew up. Me, my family, and everybody.
Everybody. That's all right. Well, listen, we've all heard of Greenville only because you live there. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. See that? I'm just kidding. I am just kidding. So that is awesome. So Justin, I want to share with the people and let them know why it was so important for me to have this conversation with you because, as I said, you are a serial entrepreneur, and we know you as Justin the Mover and Shaker. But tonight, we want to know where you came from. I saw that you had a post on November the 3rd, and I want to read it because it's so important. November is a month just full of, ups and downs, but thankfulness most of all. And so on November the 3rd, you said, today, 8 years ago, my father made his transition into life eternal. Years later, I'm still honoring his legacy, valuing the lessons and embracing the memories of my king. I love you, Pop. Continue resting. And so tonight, I want you to share with us some of those values that your father and some of those lessons that your father taught you.
So y'all have to know my daddy. He didn't really say much, right? But he was what, 6'4", real big man, right? I'm almost the shortest on the Tyson side of the family, and I'm 6'2". So, but my daddy, he was a really, really hard worker. Even coming in when I was in grade school, middle school, all of that, coming in, I seen him work, right? And I seen him not only work, but he maintained a balance where we knew he was working a lot, but we didn't feel like he was absent.
Oh.
Right. So like he was supervisor or something at International Papers. Back then it was called Union Camp in Chapman, Alabama. He would come in from there and sleep a few hours, and then he would get up because he had Tyson's Masonry, which was a brick construction company and all of that. So he worked that as well. But one of the major things, like in his death, that was the time that I realized and started to understand what residual income was. What actually leaving a legacy was. So yeah, November 3rd, it was a wild day. I had just got back into town, and he came up that night. He bought me wash and dry, and they put it in, him and Tabo, they put it in and all this, because he was like, your mama not gonna keep washing your clothes. And I'm like, well, sir, I left home in 2006. It's 2014. Why stop now? If it ain't broke, don't fix. So he did, and literally we talked, we laughed, we had a good time that night. And the next morning he was gone.
Wow.
He was gone. So one of the major points that I get from him is, one, always be a family man. Two, take care of your business, because that's exactly what he did. And I guess I could go a step further to say, so my father ran Tyson's Brick Masonry. I don't think I've ever said it live or to a lot of people, but my father was known throughout the city, right? He did a lot of great things. He made a lot of impact in Greenville and surrounding areas and all of that good stuff. But what a lot of people don't know is that my father, when he met my mom, he was actually an alcoholic.
Wow.
So he had graduated from high school, went to college, but he watched his father murder his dad. So he started drinking. He drank so much to the point where he couldn't even remember how to read.
Wow.
Yeah. So years later, he started, I remember mama buying him like See 'n Saves.
See and say?
Like the toys that we buy children.
Okay.
To spark that, to get that memory back, for him to be able to read and all of that again. So it was just beautiful watching them, honestly.
Wow. Now that's amazing. Now that speaks volumes. First of all, to the drive and the tenacity of your father, and the importance of having the right partner in life.
Oh yeah.
Because listen, that's what you call a wise woman, to even think to say, let me get this toy. Let's start from the at the basics.
Mhm.
That is awesome, Justin. And so your dad worked, he actually worked on himself, with the help of your mother, to even be able to be the man that he was, to work the hours that he worked, and to still make sure that family was number one priority.
Absolutely.
Wow. So that, I mean, listen, so you come from a line of entrepreneurs. So since we're talking about your mom, who has also transitioned, tell me some more about her. 'Cause she
Um,
was an entrepreneur as well. Is that correct?
she was.
Ah,
She
tell us.
was. So, mama's story is interesting as well. Um, so, uh, so with mama, she got married for the first time at 16.
Okay, mama, tell me mama name, because we make sure we put that out there.
Oh, Eddie Jewel Tyson. But everybody around the world know her as Tank.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh yeah, she is Miss Tank to everybody. So, like I said, Mama, she was born in Greenville as well. They had rather a large family. So, Mama, like a lot of us, she started smelling herself. She got real grown. So she got married at the age of 16, and she dropped out of high school.
Wow.
Yeah, she dropped out of high school, got married, um, and maintained her household, which I think even at 16 was commendable based on how brought up, because they taught even at the age of 16 how to hold a house. Like, I don't know about y'all, but like the 16-year-olds now, I wouldn't get them no house. Right? Like a house, a husband, and children. Like, nah, because all they gonna be eating is noodles. Y'all know how it is.
Listen, let me just put a pin right there. Let me speak for somebody who did not get married at 16. Listen, we are not gonna ever minimize what Miss Tank did holding down a house. Children, at 16. Because baby,
Yeah.
listen.
Yeah.
Yes.
So her first husband, he passed. He had a heart attack.
Wow.
And he died in 76. And she met my father in 83, and they got married March 28th, 1985.
Okay.
So like I said, mama, she dropped out of high school to take care of home and all of that. And when I got in high school, she decided that she was going to high school too.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, so she went back and finished her high school education while I was going to high school as well. So then she left there and she went on to do education and all that other great stuff. But during that time, she also had Tyson's daycare, and she ran the daycare from literally when I was in kindergarten. Mama had a daycare, right? Up until like high school. After high school is when she stopped doing the daycare. So definitely a full-time entrepreneur. I remember a few years when I was like extremely young of her working in the factory, but she quickly came out of that. So and I guess that's why we never felt like our parents were missing, because mama was like always there. She was always accessible at the events, all of that. Daddy, he was at the events. So like I said, they prioritized family first.
Absolutely. So that says to me, even in that, especially with you having both parents being entrepreneurs, it speaks to that freedom that comes with being an entrepreneur so that you can be present. So tonight, listen to our viewers. I want you guys, I know a lot of people say, listen, I can't start no business. Everybody ain't. Listen, you may want to consider the benefits of being an entrepreneur. And listen, Justin said his dad worked, he worked a job and he was an entrepreneur, but he pushed through to be present. And his mom was able to be present because she set her own schedule. And so that's really what legacy is all about. The memories. Look at how he's able to share and recall these memories about his family. I put up a video earlier today. It was actually a throwback, but I didn't put throwback on it, but it talked about what is real wealth, what are real riches, and it's relationship. Money is the lowest form of riches.
Absolutely.
And so, I just wanted to speak to the fact that even though his parents have transitioned, he has he has a wealth of memories of them, along with the values that they taught him. So I just wanted to make sure we put that out there, because we're talking about legacy tonight. And listen, I hope y'all got a piece of paper. I hope y'all go back and play this, because for those who are out here parenting and trying to find a blueprint, trying to find the way, you're looking at the product of people who didn't do maybe like everybody else is doing it, but they made a decision to be present and to do what needed to be done as an entrepreneur to have that freedom. So that is absolutely awesome, Justin. And I'm learning stuff that I didn't know tonight. Come on.
I've never like talked about this. So yeah, it's interesting. And it was during a time when I think now entrepreneurship can become kind of cliche, and it's kind of like the hot thing to do. But literally watching them build several businesses from the ground, I think it kind of managed my expectations as far as the work and the sweat equity that it requires to do so. So
let me ask you this: Did you always want to be an entrepreneur?
Okay, so let me tell y'all. I never recall a moment when I said I want to be an entrepreneur, right? But when I look back, it was like I was always an entrepreneur.
Okay, so, talk about
that. It's crazy. I remember in middle school, Napster, LimeWire, all of those things had just came out. This was when Gateway was on the corner over here on Vaughn and the Eastern Boulevard. So I wanted a brand new Gateway computer. Mama told me, she was like, I'll buy it, but if I buy it, you got to learn how to do the programs at the church, because she was chair of the program committee.
Okay.
Right. And so that was our agreement. So I got it. I started working in Photoshop. For print shop at that time, and Corel, and I was making church programs in Microsoft Word. Like, I was just getting it done. I was keeping my end of the bargain, not knowing what she was actually doing was cultivating a gift that would sustain me later on in life. But we did that, and so she got the computer. I did the church programs, but also it came with a CD burner.
Okay.
So I was the kid in school, like selling mixtapes, mix CDs, like all the hottest songs.
Please, people, don't y'all come get Justin. That was a long time ago.
I'm sure the statute of limitations is young. She said young man, but it ain't. So I was selling those, and there were other movie stuff coming out. Like, I would buy the movies and then just reproduce them. Like, I was bootlegging, right? I was bootlegging. And there's some other stuff that we won't talk about. I never sold drugs. Never sold drugs, but I always figured out a way to make money without actually having a job. And the reality is, we weren't allowed to work. when we
So hold on,
were
I want to put a pin right there. I don't want our viewers to miss this. I want y'all to take note. Parents, take note. There was an exchange. She gave him the computer, but there was an exchange that was going to be beneficial to him later on. Sometimes we give to our children, but there's no expectation. He said he cranked out them programs to hold up his end of the bargain. So she was teaching him some skills that he would need later on. So don't y'all miss it. I told y'all get your pen. Okay, go ahead, Justin. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What was I? Oh no. So wait, no. What were we talking about? We was talking about me.
You never worked.
So yeah.
There you go.
Not working, right? So we weren't able to work, but I knew that they were really, really strict on education.
Okay.
So what I did was I started volunteering. I was volunteering with the Boys and Girls Club of Greenville. Right. So now when I get there, I'm in like the 11th grade, and it's like, if you complete this program, we're going to give you $8,000 a year for school. Right. I was like, bet I can do that. Like, we like hanging with the kids. My mama had a daycare all this time, so I'm good with kids. I'm enjoying it, XYZ. And I started noticing problems, like administratively, that could have easily been fixed. And it was because I watched my mama balance checkbooks. I watched her do the paperwork for, her daycare. When all of the other kids was out playing, I was inside filing papers and helping mama organize stuff and all of this. So I started doing that at the Boys and Girls Club, and they came and offered me a position. And in my mind, I'm like, Lord, I want to take it. I'm doing it anyway. But if Tank find out, it's gonna be a problem. So I did it for like 6 months before she found out. Yeah, I did it for like 6 months before she found out. So then it was like, okay, well, you maintained your grades, you did this, you did that. I didn't know the difference, so you can keep doing that.
Wow.
So yeah, and even again, going back then, just volunteering, there was a skill set that I got from home that was already cultivated, that actually not only got me scholarships, but also got me my first employment.
Wow. So and even in that, I just want to touch on that again for our viewers, those who are watching. Look at how he was able to, he volunteered. Even if your kids don't work or you don't want them to work, but them going to volunteer can actually be something that they can put on their resumes. And that's not something that we often talk about, but it's important. And it's also important for them to serve, to give back. And sometimes, a lot of times, that will help with ungratefulness. Because sometimes if you go volunteer in the right places, you find out that what you got at home ain't so bad. Come on, Thanksgiving, let's talk about it. Thanksgiving, be grateful for your mama at home. Okay, Justin, this is good, sir. So, fast forward us to prototype. So, you weren't allowed to work, but you did get your first job. Education, big on education. Graduated high school. So, tell us, how did you end up in prototype?
Well, I told y'all I had to do the church programs, right? And my senior year in high school, I made we were playing a joke, right? I was getting back at somebody, and I figured that if I made a church program, I could make a funeral program. Wow. So it was a young lady. She went to school with us. And yeah, I would not do this again. Like, I hate even talking about it, but it's like literally how it started, right? That's the only reason I mention it. I made a funeral program of her, and we're still friends today.
Let's go.
Yeah, I can't apologize enough. But I made the funeral program, and some kind of way it was supposed to just be for us at the school, right? It ended up getting out into the community, and the funeral home got it. So they was like, "Oh, you can come do funeral programs," like, and I was like, "Oh, nah, I'm not coming to the funeral home." So that went on, and then I left. Thank God, I left Greenville, and I got to Alabama State University. And there was this place. Some of y'all may call it Top Flight, but when I got to Alabama State, it was called the Rose. And so they were looking for people to do flyers, and I was like, "Oh, I play around XYZ, blah blah blah." So I started designing flyers for the Rose, and it wasn't for money. It was just for me and my friends to actually get in the club, to get one of the blue drinks and a chicken. That's all I wanted.
And the chicken. Now, listen, I will say that the chicken and the blue drinks was worth the flyer. Let's put that
it
out.
Was. Listen. So that's literally all I wanted. And more people kept calling, more people kept asking. And so then I stopped. Because I'm like, I started getting saved, and I wasn't really going out as much, But that was this couple. It was Vicky and Tasha. They had this production company called Vakashini, and I started back like doing flyers for them. And this time it was just like, okay, don't stop. So they said, especially the blue drink. Listen. Who know
about that blue drink?
So what happened after that? I got back interested in design again from those ladies, and I found Photoshop. And when I found Photoshop, it was like that Luther Vandross, "When I found you, I found somebody." Yeah, like I found everything I needed like in Photoshop. And what I started doing was I would get magazines, and I would take pictures of billboards and all of this stuff and try to redesign it in Photoshop. And then I went a step further, and I went and started working at FedEx Kinko's. And then my friends wanted to go out of town, and Kinko's told me that I had to work. Like I was on the schedule to work. Me, I wasn't used to that, because when mom and them wanted to go, they just went. Like I wasn't used to the restriction of you can't go. Like that tormented me.
Come on, entrepreneur.
Right. So me, like I called mama, and I was like, I see Miss Flowers on here. Keith was one of them. Keith and Cruz, everybody, like they were getting ready to go to Atlanta. I was stuck at work. So I called mama, and I'm like, "Hey, Keith and them about to leave. And this man is telling me I can't go." Right? And by now we have an apartment and all of this. And she was like, "No, leave. Give them that uniform and leave. And if you know Tank, then you know what she said." And so I did that. Came back, and I was getting some stuff printed off at Office Depot, and I was telling the lady, I was like, "Well, if you do this, you can get it to work." And the manager came up, and he was like, "Are you looking for a job?" I was like, "Not really," because at that time, I started with the Alabama Department of Public Health. So I really wasn't looking for a job, but I was like, you know what? At least if I decide to start my business, I can kind of see what people are asking for. I can see what people need, XYZ, blah, blah, blah. So I started working at Office Depot. This time it was Mike and Tufi. They were getting ready to go to Tennessee. So I was like, all right, Office Depot, I got to throw y'all the deuces too. But during that time, like before I got ready to leave, I already knew like, okay, this is coming to an end. I had started like passing out business cards and talking to people and XYZ and blah, 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 blah. And for my 25th birthday, I launched Prototype. And you were there.
And I was there. Come on, we're making history again tonight. So listen, I want everybody to understand, or let me ask you this. So when you were at Alabama State University, did you go for graphic designs? Is that what you were going to school for?
So I originally enrolled for graphic design. I took one graphic design course and I knew that it was not for me. I was not doing it. Now I know why, but I didn't like the color theory and all of that stuff. It was just it was boring to me. And now looking back, it was because it came natural.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's I just wanted to let the people know, the peoples know that
so I went to
I didn't go to school. Look,
no,
right.
No.
He didn't go to school for graphic design. It's definitely a gift that we all appreciate, and that we've all, if you on his Facebook page, you witnessed it. And if you are on my Facebook page, you have not been to his Facebook page, you should do that, because it's gonna bless your life. So listen, I'm serious. So Justin, what would you say to the people tonight who have been contemplating entrepreneurship and kind of on the fence about it? Can you tell me, as a product of two entrepreneurs, how it's impact, how it impacts you as a child up until being an adult, and what are some of the benefits of being an entrepreneur other than freedom? Because we talked about that. How do you think that ties into legacy? Talk about that for me.
So working on a job and that's it is definitely not a form of legacy. We all know if you die or whatever, then it's over. Right? They're not gonna come and say, hey, Jessica was a great employee, so Jarius, we want you to take your mama's spot. Like, that's probably not going to happen. Like I said, when my father died in 2014, that was my first real world experience of, oh, this is what entrepreneurship provides. So when my father died, the first thing I asked mama, I was like, so look, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna move back and help you out with bills and XYZ. And she was like, what? Like, literally. And I'm like, nah, we go keep everything afloat. Like, we got this. I got a good job. We in this together. And she was like, I don't need you to move back to help me with bills. She was like, now if you want to come back home, you can, but I don't need you to move back to help with bills. And she gave me the breakdown. And like I said, that was when I realized, oh, this is like residual. Mm-hmm. And she wasn't using the word residual for me to understand it. She said, if I don't get out the bed,
that'll preach. Come on,
this is what's coming in.
Say that again. Wait, Pops. Selah, go right there. Let us take that in. Let's take that in. If I don't get out the bed, it's gonna still roll in. While I'm still in the bed. Okay, go ahead, sir. Mm-hmm.
And so then that transition to after Daddy died, that was her thing. If I don't get out the bed, this was coming in. Well, then that transition to now I need you to understand that if I don't wake up in the morning, this is what's coming in.
Wow.
All right. So those two things like really, really stuck with me. So even while I was working at Public Health, like I said, I launched my business when I was 25. And I made a vow, I made a promise to myself that I would never work for anybody harder than I worked for me.
Oh,
I worked hours.
Repeat that. Don't go.
I would never work for anybody else harder than I worked for me.
Okay, y'all writing that down. I hope y'all
So
put
I would leave ADPH and I would
Mhm.
go home and work.
Wow.
Like work till it got to the point where I was no longer living off of ADPH. I was living solely off of my business.
Wow.
Um, so then 2018, mom passed.
Mhm.
So mama got sick in February and she ended up passing in March. And at that point, y'all, I was stuck. Right? I was completely stuck. I knew what to do. I knew how to do it. But there was some I just could not move off the sofa. Like I was stuck. But in that, I had a boss who was like, we got these reports that gotta be ran. Like we need you to come back to work. I understand what's going on in your life, XYZ, blah, 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 but we got to get back to work. It was then that I knew like, nah, this ain't it. This ain't it for me. Nothing against a job because ADPH financed Prototype, right? I never took out a loan for Prototype or whatever. So I'm not opposed to a job. I'm opposed to only having a job.
ADPH funded Prototype. Let your job fund your business.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have to take out a loan. Go ahead, sir.
So let your job fund your dream until your dream can fund your life.
Ooh, one more time.
Let your job fund your dream until your dream can fund your life.
Wow.
And that's literally like what I did.
Mhm.
And from my parents, one thing that I see a lot of people doing, like generational wealth, is very popular right now. Everybody's out and we're all grinding and making generational wealth and XYZ. And the problem is we get so caught up in making generational wealth that it actually only becomes an inheritance.
So elaborate on that. That was good.
So the difference between generational wealth and inheritance is we can do all of this in our now life.
Mm-hmm.
And we die and we pass it on to our lineage, our legacies.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Equip.
That's an inheritance.
Mm-hmm.
But if we have not informed them, if we have not educated them, then they're going to lose it. It's not generational until it's two legacies deep.
Mm-hmm.
And we get caught up in it. So if mom and them were creating these businesses and all of that, and they didn't involve me,
it's just an inheritance.
It would just be an inheritance.
Wow.
So the difference between an inheritance and generational wealth is simply information and education.
Listen, hold on. I need y'all in this chat. Listen, if y'all not capturing this in the chat, I need y'all to capture this on a piece of paper. I need y'all to come back and watch it. He dropping nuggets. Carry on, sir. I just need the people to know what they listen for. You know, sometimes we be listening but we ain't listening.
Yeah.
I need you to listen effectively tonight.
Yeah. So what it says, like, a good man leaves an inheritance, right? Mm-hmm. But it also says our people perish from lack of knowledge. That knowledge may not necessarily come from school. Mm-hmm. That how-to, that passion, that it literally starts at home and spreads. Those seeds are watered at home. Mm-hmm. Right? So as parents, like, so Tajon, my son, he has zero interest in Prototype. Right? He has zero interest. But for the longevity of Prototype, I understand that it would be foolish for me to say, leave in my will, Tajon is now the sole owner and operator of Prototype.
Right.
It's not gonna happen. So we created a plan where Tyjon will benefit at a percentage of Prototype, but the company actually goes to someone that's interested in doing it.
So that means you have a will, sir?
Yeah, not only a will, but we also have a concession plan. So in the event, like you have to set up things.
Mhm.
If this, then this,
Mhm.
right? Because I mean, you know, like Jessica is prophetic, but Jessica don't know like how things are going to fall in the future,
Mhm.
right? So it could be simple as, so for Tyjon, if Tyjon doesn't do XYZ, then this is the amount that Tyjon is going to get.
Mhm.
Right? So Tyjon gets that amount, and the rest, I'm not saying I take it from him, but it's issued out to him because I need to make sure that if I die now, Tyjon maturity level doesn't say, give me 6 figures, give me 50,000, give me 60,000. Right? So it's not just about leaving a legacy. I think you have to leave a legacy with instructions, or leave an inheritance with instructions to get it to the point where it's a legacy.
Absolutely. Absolutely, sir. Listen, you're preaching real good, sir. Tonight. Now I know the people think you know, preaching is standing behind the pulpit, but this young man is preaching tonight. He even gave y'all a couple of scriptures. Y'all need y'all to go check them out. Because this is how this is how you build. This is how you build. Because you have to understand, wealth is not something that just falls out of the sky. It's not. It's accumulated. It's accumulated, and so there we had all kind of bricks and all kind of stuff going on. He built it. He laid the foundation. His parents laid the foundation, but he said something so important, and I don't want us to miss it. His parents involved him, even as a child, in the principle. Now, Justin stated that his father was at brick masonry, but the principles from that business is what helped him build Prototype. So again, even if your children are not interested in what you're interested in, teach them the principle. Don't let them just get away and go, I don't like that, I don't want to do that. Because I'm sure that there are things that Tyjon doesn't even know that he's learning. And guess what? He won't know. Because as long as you got a king, then you got a prince. It's only when the king is gone off the throne that the prince really understand what it means.
Listen, when my daddy died, it was just like a weight, right? And the night before he passed, I was like, I got ill. We were supposed to be going to another city, and we only ended up coming home because I got ill.
Wow.
And we dead now. So what was actually happening in the spirit was physically what I was feeling was the weight of the mantle that was being passed down in the spirit. So I had to adjust because your mantle doesn't go with you. Right? So now being able to step up and fulfill the responsibility, I understand that what I do, everything that I do, I can't do it in my own strength. Right? So the generational thing is not just tangible. And if y'all follow me on Facebook, y'all know me and some family members, we had it out, right, about things that was left. And what I constantly said is I didn't care. Because I had to understand that the legacy wasn't necessarily tied to the houses or the money or anything like that. Because if it's a real legacy, the wisdom that has been passed down is I can lose it tomorrow and get it all back.
Get it all back. Come on, sir.
So when you're saying principles, the principles don't change. What it takes to build a print shop, it takes to build a podcast. And now that I'm coaching other students in business, the principles don't change. Once you know them, you know them. Once you know them, you know them. And I can help transform all of these principles, translate them to fit your direct market. Absolutely. And now we're building. Tajana, he's not interested in graphic design and all that, but he texted me and he said, hey, I want to start a mobile mechanic business.
Come on, sir.
He's great with his hands. Right? Okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Simple.
Because the principles
are the same. So yeah, he see what entrepreneurship provides. If all you have is your job, you're doing your whole family this. Because 9 times out of 10, your child is not going to work with you. So they not only need to see or inherit things from you, they need to see how you got it.
Yes, absolutely.
So now you're not only passing down what can become generational wealth, but you're creating generational wealth creators. So now the wealth becomes perpetual. And then when they look at your family 2, 3, 4 years from now, they'll say, oh, that's Jessica grandbaby. They got old money.
Come on.
They got old money. And the problem is in our community, we never get to the point of having old money because we're so selfish with the information that we get. And we're selfish with our sisters. We're selfish with our brothers. Everybody's not going to get it. I'm not the oldest child. I'm not the oldest. My oldest brother, he died right after my father, the same month. Right? There's a child in between us. He didn't get it. It's not that it wasn't provided. But you got to look somewhere. And your legacy may not be in your family.
Oh, this getting deep, yo.
It may not be.
May not be.
But your goal is to not only make sure your family's okay, but you also got to make sure that your name live forever. Broke people don't live forever. They don't.
We don't remember them, baby.
And when we think about your name, we don't want to think about, oh yeah, child, you know they had to do the fish fry.
Listen, we don't.
Not even get it. It turns a way to jumpstart generational wealth.
It's a tool.
But most of us look at it as a bill because we don't understand bills and investments.
Listen.
Invite me back. We'll talk about that another
I was going to say, hold on, you're going too deep. They're going to have to pay. They're going to pay for this here.
Like, listen, y'all come to the next master class. I'm telling y'all. Because you have to set that aside to understand. I like to go over, like, I spend my money in percentages.
See, that's biblical, sir. The percentages is biblical. But go ahead. I ain't gonna stop you. Go ahead. Tell your story.
Spend it in percentages. That way, I didn't leave home here mentally. Right? We done did the evictions on the door. We done did, sitting in the living room, sit still, because Alabama Power, they don't knock at the door no more. They just turn them off. But back then, they used to come and knock at the door, and you don't want to see no movement. And it's like, well, fool, you may as well open the door because they go turn the lights off anyway. And you just sitting there waiting on that refrigerator to click, and you're like, okay, yeah, they got me. And now I can move again. Like, and we're paralyzed. So I've been there.
See, tell that boy he's been there.
Definitely been there. But if you train a child, right? So eventually, over at EFI, we say, well, what's in you go come out.
Absolutely.
Right? It may be some stuff on top of it or whatever they got, but what's in you eventually is going to come out.
That's right.
So we have to make sure that we're sowing the right seeds, we're planting the right things in our legacies.
Absolutely.
Because it doesn't start when you die. It starts when you wake up in the morning.
Begin
every single day. I feel my legacy. And if you really want to make your name great, if you have to think about the people like T.D. Jakes or Miles Monroe, all of these people planted themselves in other people. So now if T.D. Jakes leave this earth, generations and generations and generations to come will know that T.D. Jakes walked this earth.
That's right.
Martin Luther King, he did the same thing. He left none of us money. But for some reason, we feel like we are a part of the dream that he had.
We know his name.
Listen, that's how his name will never die.
Streets and things, schools.
We're talking about generational wealth. I wish we would get away from generational wealth and just say generational wisdom. And a lot of times we don't get to generational wisdom, my Lord, is because we're passing down bad generational behaviors.
And habits and things.
It's not, and we call it a curse. No, it's not a curse. It's just a behavior
that's been passed down.
You didn't know how to manage money, and you didn't take the ability to learn. So now your child watched you not manage money, and now they do the same thing that you're doing. And it's like, oh, my got a generational curse. No, y'all just learn how to budget. It's real simple.
Yeah, and take some of that money and send them to class. And you go, invest. That's an investment. That's an investment to get your children out your pocket. Take them, send them somewhere so they can learn how to manage that money. I'm sorry. Yeah. Go ahead. You can have the mic. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, but yeah, legacy. If you are a parent, look and see what your child is good at and invest in that. Cultivate that.
Yes. And so let me say this. Let me say this. As it relates to paying attention to what your children are good at. Some things need to be channeled differently. You have to pay. Sometimes people call and say, oh, he's so bad, he's so this, he's so that. Sometimes that energy just has to be channeled differently. But that's gonna go, that speaks to when Justin was talking about his parents being present. You got to pay attention to your children. And sometimes listen to them. Listen to what they're saying. Pay attention to what's going on so that you will be able to catch it and cultivate it. So I just want to say that because sometimes as little, when we got little people, we kind of just, shoo them off or dismiss them or put them in front of the tablet or the TV. It's going to take a little being intentional to pay attention to what they're good at. Go ahead, Justin.
No, I'm right there with you. Like I don't know where I would have been if me and my mother made the agreement to do church programs. Like something that simple, but she knew I had an interest.
Seed. It was a seed.
That was an interest. Just look and see. Like you will know what to cultivate. You would definitely know what to cultivate. So yeah, I'm excited. Their legacy will forever live on the first of, like you said, as a hope that comes to say, hey, keep up the good work, right? And to make sure that my legacy lives on, I'm going to love you from the grave.
Yes. Did y'all hear
I'm like,
that?
from the grave. And
He
so
said
now,
a hug at the first of the month. Just in case, I don't want y'all to miss that. Even though they're gone, there's a hug at the first of the month from his parents that say, I love you. Don't miss it.
and you go on, there's annuities and there are different things that you can put your money in. So I'm not looking to make and hold all the money for me now. Sacrifice. I'm telling you, we got to get to the point where it's like, oh yeah, they got old money. I was watching the Have and Have Nots this morning, and they were talking about the criers and all of that. And she like, do you not know who I am? Like, this is our city. because it's old money. But we have to teach the next generation how to do the same thing. Don't be so busy working outside of the house that your child don't ever see you building it. Yeah. Because ultimately they're going to do what they seen you do.
Awesome. And let me just say this before we wrap this thing up, because Justin gave y'all all kind of nuggets. Listen, your homework assignment is to go back and watch this and take notes. Get what you need, honey, because the Lord is speaking right here. But I'll say this, and because this came to my mind when Justin said, old money, and do you not know this is our city? I can assure you, if you go to Greenville, 30, 45 minutes away from Montgomery, somebody just randomly pick somebody. I bet you they know Jim and Jewel Tank, because that was their city. Want me to say how I know? Because when it came down to their services, the city came out for both services. So I just want you to know, he's not just talking about what's on TV. I'm talking about what I saw. Everybody knew the Tysons. And guess what? Everybody knows Justin. No, but they might call him Sean. They might call him Sean, but they know him.
And real quick, I know death seems like when we start talking about legacy, it comes with your transition, right? One thing I will say that my parents always, when, like I said, they planned their funeral when I was in 5th grade. No, I was 5. And I remember like coming home and the funeral home was there and they had books out and all of this. And I was like, why y'all picking out caskets? And I didn't speak to them for a couple days because I'm like, y'all want to die. Like, why would y'all want to die and leave me and XYZ? I'm just being like an emotional child, honestly, right? But in 2014, when all I had to do was call the funeral home, I was like, okay, now I understand, right? And 2018, when Mama died, Mike and all those, we went to the house, and my niece was like, well, Mama, Granny always said if something happened to her, give you this.
Wow.
And we're talking about an envelope of instructions saying X, Y, Z. This is where this is. This is what this is. Blah, 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 blah. X, Y, Z. Even to down to having cash in the safe that says it may take a little while for you to get a death certificate.
Wow.
So you may not be able to do anything, but here's enough cash to take care of what we need to take care of for the next couple of months until you are able to get what you need.
Wow.
So now this is what we're talking about when we're saying legacy. I see families coming in all the time. And y'all, it wasn't necessarily about what all was on the paper.
Mm-hmm.
It was, you thought enough about me, to plan for me even when you're not with me.
Wow.
I see families come in our office all the time, and they want these amazing funerals. They want these amazing programs because they want to honor their family member. But then it comes down to, okay, well, this is the budget. And then we have to say, well, this is what you can get. if you want to see how someone lived and the quality of the choices they made, look at their service.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about the number of people. That tells you the impact they made. But look at the quality of the service that they have. All right. So yeah, that's my legacy talk for tonight. Thank you so much for having me. I am so glad that you have gotten uncomfortable, because these are the conversations that we have to have in our community. And I can't think of a better person to actually step up and lead that charge. I told you, your passion is people. And I always believe that our purpose and our passion, when that collides, that's when we make the greatest impact. So I think all of us on here just thank you for saying yes.
Oh, well, y'all welcome. I love the peoples. And I want to publicly thank you, just because I always listen. I thank you, but I want to thank you for being my business coach. I'm so proud to say Justin is my business coach. And so tonight, y'all get a chance to see why. Because I know how he's persevered. I know how he pushed through. I told Justin when he was at ADPH, I said a lot of people envy you and they want what you got, but they could never walk through what you've walked through with the grace that you've walked through it. And so tonight, we honor you, Jim and Jules' legacy. Now, listen, y'all ain't gonna make me cry on here tonight. I'm finna get off here. I feel it right now coming in my eye right now. But he said something so powerful that his parents thought enough of him to plan for him, even when they weren't gonna be here. Just think about, he's grieving, but the weight that was lifted off him because his mama said, "Listen what you do, baby. Do this and do that, and this who you call." So that's what legacy talk is about tonight. Beginning with the end in mind. We all know that one day we're gonna have to leave here. So go ahead and plan that out. And that way you can live. You can make impact. You ain't got to worry about it. Look over your shoulder like, oh, did I do this? Did I do that? It'll already be ready. And that way you won't have to worry about what's going to, listen, build. It's so many nuggets we got tonight. And I thank Justin for just being transparent and open and not trying to hold everything. Y'all, that ain't all. That's just his story. I'm telling y'all, that's just his story. But he said something so powerful that there are tools out there, financial tools. Educate yourself on life insurance. Educate yourself on annuities. Educate yourself on if you outlive your money. You know what I'm saying? Like you think about, okay, I can retire from this job. He said something. If you only have one income, you already broke. Now he ain't say it like that, but that's how I'm saying it. If you only have one stream of income, you already broke. Well, Justin, do you have any final words for us tonight before we wrap it up and let the people go to bed tonight or wherever they want to go?
No, let's just get busy. Right? Not only being busy, let's get productively busy. Productively busy.
Let's be productive and effective. All right, now listen. I'm gonna put my little job form in this chat tonight. For those of you who don't have life insurance, that's your first step. Get some life insurance. Okay. I don't care if they, would listen. They got life insurance for everybody. Those of us who took care of ourselves and those of us who did not. But you need to have something. You got to have something. All right. Listen, it's been fun. Thank y'all for tuning in. As I said before, make sure you click like, click share, and go back and for real, y'all, for real, like the Lord was speaking. Y'all need to go and take some notes. The Holy Ghost use this young man tonight. All right. Good night. I love y'all.
Good night.